Good morning. Happy Friday.
Hello, how are you, man? How are you? Another Friday.
Good. How we doing, Johnny Mo?
No complaints. Absolutely invigorated with, the conversations that we have and the improvements we're seeing and such like that. So, just happy to be here alive above this side
Yeah.
of dirt, but also happy to be seeing progress with people and just being around good energy, man.
Yeah. No, it's for sure. It's been a good week. A lot of great conversations, a lot of great progress. It feels like things are starting to I hate to use the word normal, but I feel like things are starting to normalize a little bit. The market's waking up a little bit, so we're seeing some good activity.
Yeah.
Having some good conversations, and unfortunately, we're staring down the barrel of another snowstorm that's going to drop a foot on us this weekend. But other than that, all is good.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna skip going out for pizza then.
Yeah, yeah. Order in if you're going to get pizza.
Yeah.
But
So,
anyways, let's dive into the 90/90 weekly recap. So
yeah, sure.
we send out a weekly email recapping kind of the 90 and 90 progress, but also the key learnings for the week. If anybody's not getting that and wants it, feel free to leave your email in the comments. We'll include you on the list. But um, so the three learnings this week, and actually the first one came directly from you, Johnny Mo. So I'll have you talk about this one. You said during the call this week that you think one of the keys to success in this business, in this kind of challenge anywhere, is the idea of discipline plus accountability equaling success.
Yeah. I mean, I believe that in so much that that was the tagline, right? At more GCI when we're hardcore into the numbers and doing the daily disciplines, accountability, in my opinion, which so with the UPAD principles of success, which is something that I followed, understand, plan, their management level duties. Action and discipline are the technician level duties. Most real estate agents don't have that management level. They don't have somebody they're accountable to. Just like you're in the corporate world, you always had a boss that had, hey, we have expectations for you.
Sure.
We're going to pay you X amount of money, and these are the expectations. Well, in real estate, it's just kind of like, hey, here you go,
Yeah.
right? So there's no true accountability, and real estate agents are amazing salespeople,
Yep.
but not all of them are amazing managers. So what I've always taught was get into your management level of your business, and that's where accountability is created. And that's the missing piece in our industry. That's our missing piece in all of everything that we want to achieve. There has to be accountability. And accountability only comes through doing the discipline or having the discipline to
Yep.
do the things that I think John Maxwell says it. Discipline is doing the things that you don't want to do. So eventually you can only do the things you want to do.
Yep.
Right. So discipline is you're not going to lose weight unless you change the way that you eat and get some exercise and drink some water. Right. And have those disciplines. It's not going to happen after a week. Right.
Right.
And so having the discipline is doing it in week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5. Because the thing about real estate, right, and lead generation, there's nothing new or special out there,
Mhm.
right, that's going to do it for you.
Right.
There's no easy button. There's no invention. There's no nothing. Yes, the more money you make, you can get leverage tools that can help. But if you spend $10,000 a month on the best lead generation system, on ads and everything, and they come in, and you're not following up with those leads, it's a waste. So the discipline is to have that schedule. When am I going to follow up with the people? In Six Sigma, they would call it rhythms, right? What are your daily lead generation rhythms? What's your follow up rhythms? What's your sphere of influence rhythms, right? What are you doing to stay in touch with these people to make conversations? Because at the end of the day, it simply comes down to having conversations with people, right?
Right.
I having those conversations.
Exactly. And yeah, are you doing it consistently? Are you getting up every day with a plan to do that? And actually, I saw a post this week on one of those big real estate mastermind type pages. Somebody was really concerned about some changes some of these third parties are making, how they generate leads, how they send out leads, and
Hmm.
what they charge. And my comment to that group was, when you generate your own leads, you don't have to worry about that. If your business is beholden to a third party, you can be shut down anytime.
Yeah.
Anytime Zillow changes what they do, or Realtor.com or OpCity, anytime they change what they do, your business could in theory get shut down. And now what are you going to do? When you
Yeah.
don't have control of that and you're beholden to a third party, it's a lot of risk. You're putting a lot of risk, and you're putting a lot of faith in one source.
You definitely are putting a lot of faith in one source. And, what some of these people are up in arms about. Now, I'm going to be very careful in what I say because I didn't research it because I don't care.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
not going to spend any
We
energy on it.
we haven't bought leads in years and years.
right? But the gravy piece that I was able to sniff out real quick on one particular thing was with OpCity
Mhm.
change, and I think Zillow probably did or is going to do the
Well,
same.
they're always changing.
You have to be hitting a certain metrics or a
Mhm.
conversion percentage, or they'll drop you, or they're going to start dropping you or minimize what
Right.
they're going to give you. And people are up in arms about that. And I'm like, if I was a sales manager, I'd be doing the same damn thing. If
Exactly.
you're not converting at 10%, then you're losing me money, right?
Right.
You're losing the company money. And I think some people are up in arms about that. But what it really is a call to look in the mirror, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, these are businesses that get paid on referral fees when you close deals. So if you don't convert clients, they don't get paid. Yeah, I mean, I get their point, but at the same time, if you're sitting in the shoes of the agent, hopefully you're converting at that level. But if you're not
Yeah.
and you get shut off, well, what are you going to do now? If you're not doing anything else but that, your business just got effectively closed down. So
Cover your ears, timid people. It's not the company's problem. You suck, right?
right.
So, get work on your skill, work on your
Yep.
conversion, and this is a discipline things, right? Then we work with Jeff, and he's always practicing scripts and comebacks. I used to record myself talking and having conversations with
Yep.
myself. So when I was posed with a particular question or objection, I was able to overcome that naturally, organically. It would just flow, right? It's not like, oh, wow, that's no, there's nothing new. There's no new objection in this business,
Yep.
right? So if you can practice overcoming 80% of the objections, then you're going to be way better. And that's why script practice and those things are so popular and powerful.
Yep.
Um, some of them are hooky, but if you can get yourself down to right, and when I say what I'm about to say, I learned this back in the '90s, mid '90s, maybe even early '90s. I worked for a company. They brought in a Tom Hopkins rep. Really, what they were doing, where they were selling they gave us a lot of great information in 1 hour to sell us to the mastermind down in Foxborough or whatever that area is called. I don't even know what it's
Yep.
called down there. What's it called? Walpole, something.
Yeah. So depending on where you are, you're anywhere from Walpole or Waltham to Foxborough.
Right. So we're down there at some big place, and the whole time Tom Hopkins was there talking. Tom Hopkins was giving you a bunch of great advice, but he was selling you to the next event, right? The mastermind for 3 days in Scottsdale.
Right.
But the point is, Tom Hopkins with sales mastery, I think, is what he taught, and that was the inspiration for real estate sales mastery.
Yep.
And nobody teaches this, the art of the sale, right? How to close, how to maintain control in a conversation, how to end with asking questions and lead with questions to get your answer and take back control and overcome these objections along the way. So when you get to the end to ask for the sale, in our case, the listing. Or the buyer agent agreement. So many people are hung up on that, and they're like, "Oh, world's going to change because we have to get our own commission." Yeah, man. I mean, no, overpaid order takers are no longer, the world's evolving, the world's changing. Now, don't get me wrong, a good buyer's agent is worth their money. There's a
Absolutely.
lot of people out there that are just dependent upon somebody else to feed them. And,
Mhm.
when I talk very harsh and real because I've never had a handout, right? I've reached the levels that I did from sheer hard work, right?
Right.
So when I say this stuff, I'm saying it from love and not from anger or animosity,
Yeah. Well,
right?
and I think that's sometimes the feeling about teams. Teams are built so that the rainmaker could just add people on and make more money. But teams are built because the rainmakers created an environment where there's enough for others to come in and be able to build their own business inside of it and in some cases be fed, but also build their own. And that's a different dynamic than just trying to throw people into a room and boiler room this thing to get them to create business. It just doesn't work that way. But I think the underlying theme there is that this market went from a speed market. It was basically how quickly could you respond to somebody who's ready and willing and able to a
Mhm.
skills market where now you've got to go out and find those people, identify them, and that gets us to our second learning, which is we need to understand objections versus conditions. An objection is something the potential client tells you to either avoid making a decision or maybe get you off the phone, or in some cases it's a way they express their concerns. Whereas a condition is something you just can't fix. It's something that's causing them to not be able to act now. Things like a life situation. Um, you can't change that. You can get somebody over the fear of well, if I sell my house, where will I go next? But you can't get somebody with the fear of, well, I can't move now because of X. I've got a life situation, a job relocation, a health situation, whatever it might be. If you try to overcome conditions, you're going to have a lot of unproductive conversations. You need to know when it's an objection versus a condition.
Yeah, and life issues are going to be all of them,
Yeah,
right?
all of it.
Somebody died, somebody got divorced, somebody married, you got a new kid coming, you've been relocated. These are all life events. Life events is the number one trigger, is the trigger for the real estate decision, right? Um, so listen, UPAD principles of success, understand. Even in Sales Mastery, I talk about you have to understand. And how do we understand? By asking the right questions, by having authentic conversation, by slowing down and listening versus hearing to respond.
Yep.
Right?
Huge.
Hearing is physical, listening is psychological. You can't, like, if I used to walk into somebody's office, they'd be sitting there typing away. They're like, "Yeah, what's up?" I'm like, "Oh, I'll wait till you're done. I don't want to interrupt you." No, it's okay. Go ahead. I said, "I'm not saying this for you.
Yep.
I'm saying this for me.
Yep.
I don't want to repeat myself, because 10 out of 10 times in the past when I said something and it was something important or something of significance, you would say, "Oh, wait a minute, what?" Because you weren't listening. You're
Right.
hearing to respond.
Exactly.
Right? And I don't really want to operate that way. I'd rather go much slower. I would rather, you're getting paid. You can make thousands of dollars done right. You can amplify that by marketing a listing correctly and all these other things. So there's no other place that I want to be than in that room, that chair, right then, right there.
Yep.
To get that list, but to understand that person. I might not be listing that property today, but I want to make sure when that decision comes 3, 4, 6 months down the road, that I'm the agent that sat there and listened to them, drank coffee, talked about different things, and followed up with them. Make sure that I'm the one that they're going with.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of us are guilty. I know I've been guilty of this at times. Somebody's talking and I'm already thinking about how to respond because I'm trying to, rather than having a natural conversation, I'm trying to steer it somewhere. So in my head, I'm already thinking about, well, what do I say to get them to go down this path? And what ends up happening is that I miss important things they say. And now I come back with a response that makes no sense in the context of the conversation. And I look like a fool. And the conversation kind of dissolves because now it isn't authentic. It isn't a real conversation. They can feel that.
Mm-hmm.
So when we get all hung up on, what's the script and I need to memorize this or memorize that. No, you need to understand the general concept of how to have a good conversation. Scripts are a great guide, but
Mm-hmm.
scripts are not the verbatim conversation you should have. They are the direction you want to head, but you need to make it personal. You need to personalize it, make it yours, so you can actually have a natural conversation and not just sound like a robot that is steering them somewhere, because they're going to immediately shut down on you when they feel that.
Allow me to show you my 23-point marketing plan. Right? Yeah,
Right.
you have to put it into your own vernacular. I speak a little rough. I don't use words properly. I got a Boston accent,
Say
right?
it's a Massachusetts thing.
so when I move fast too, but you know what I mean, I also move slow. There is no one, in the words of the great Johnny Cochran, if the glove don't fit, you must have quit, right? There is no one glove that fits
No,
everybody.
exactly.
One size doesn't fit all. I mean by that is, I walked into a couple at one time, older couple. They were selling their home in Bedford, and if they were able to sell their home, they wanted to buy in this 55 plus community known as the Muse. So it took over a year and a half to make that happen. But at the end of the day, it was almost $1 million in transactional
Yeah.
dollars. When I would go over there, I'd sit there, I'd talk, I'd play with their dog, I'd eat their meatloaf, I'd eat their cookies, you know what I mean? And we would talk and have a good old time, and I'd follow up again in 2 months and follow up again in 2 months. I did marketing so I could find a place over there, finally got one and said, "Hey, listen, I got one. Let's go take a look at it." Was able to put the whole thing together. Another instance, I walked in to a townhouse in Bedford in River Glen, and I can sell that. At that point, I could sell that within a phone call, right, to one of
Yep.
two people who, I don't want this to sound any kind of bigotrous at all. I worked with an Indian couple, and he was the manager of a place. And this company brought a lot of Indian programmers over on visa. They
Oh, sure.
all wanted to live in River Glen
Yep.
because they had a sense of community there. Their friends lived there. It was affordable, it was safe, and you had Bedford and the school systems in Bedford. I could make one phone call and say, "Hey, got one coming on the market," right? And he would say, "When can we see it?" So I walked into this condo, and the guy was a CEO. He had bought the condo because he lived somewhere out west. I don't remember where, maybe Chicago, maybe. And he would come in. So instead of staying in hotels and always bringing a suitcase, it made more sense. At this time, those things are selling for $259. It made it part of his compensation package that they were going to cover that. And so he bought this condo for $259. I walked in, fastest listing appointment ever. He goes, I've already looked you up online. I know you sell a lot of houses. What do you think I can get for it? And I told him $295. I can get rid of it in a day for you. He goes, where do I sign? I'll be here on. He goes, here's the key.
Yep.
Do what you need to do. Right now, he's the only person that lived there. Place was meticulously clean. Called the photographer up. Bang bang. Did our thing. Right. So you have to be able to morph, but always go in with the air of caution, prepared to have
Yep.
a long internal conversation with somebody.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And as a segue into our third learning of the week was, and you're alluding to it here with the conversation of knowing kind of where to go with these things, is that we need more than ever to be problem solvers. Right
Yeah.
now the media is filling everybody with this kind of doom and gloom perspective. Recession's coming, interest rates are high, the world's coming to an end. Um, and you've got a lot of buyers and sellers that have some concerns and fears right now. And more than ever, we need to be able to, address those. We need to be able to get the fears and concerns out of them and be prepared to address them. Not by saying, well, don't worry about it, it's going to be okay. But more so, here's how I've solved this for others. Here's how I'm getting my sellers, the most money they can with the least hassle right now. Here's how I'm getting buyers into the home they really want to be in a way they can afford it. It's being able to demonstrate your expertise and be able to show people how you're solving those problems for other people and can do it for them. And it's not just a matter of playing into that or going along with it or agreeing with them. It's really, you need to be able to address those issues head on and show how you're solving those problems.
Can't be afraid of them.
Right.
People paying you a crap load of money to solve problems,
Right.
right?
That's what we do, right?
Right. And it's the same like in the tech world. I can hire tech guy one at $100 and I can hire tech guy two at $1,000. And tech guy one isn't going to be as advanced as tech guy two, right?
Mhm.
So I'm looking to solve tech problems. I want the best.
Yep.
Right. I'm going to pay a lot of money. I want the best. I want my problem solved. And it's the same thing in our world. They're paying a lot of money. Right. It is a lot of money. And there's not an agent out there that can convince me, oh, by the time we pay for every staple, we pay for it. Then you're running you've structured your business wrong. You didn't build all this stuff into your operating cost, because that should be considered into your 20 or 25% operating. And then you build your budget based upon that. So you didn't structure your business. But there's not somebody out there that can convince me that we don't get paid a lot of money per transaction. I don't care about your staples. Right. That's your yearly business cost. We're talking about the transaction. You get paid a significant amount of money for that transaction. Right.
Yep.
Be present, be knowledgeable, be the best that you can be.
Right.
Be the problem solver.
Exactly. People want to work with experts. They want to work with people that are going to solve their problems. They don't care that you sold 29 houses. They don't care that you drive a white Mercedes. They don't care that you in many cases, don't even care if you wear a suit or a golf shirt. They just care that you are somebody who cares about their problems, can solve their problems, and you're an expert in your field. If you can check all those boxes, the rest of the stuff just doesn't matter. But you need to, when you're talking to people, get those fears and concerns out of them so you can address them head on. Otherwise, they're going to be objections you trip over the whole time.
Yeah.
And you'll never move forward.
100%. If you don't have the confidence, they're going to know. If you are scared of the commission, they're going to know. If you are, and that's a big holdup for a lot, is asking for that commission, asking for the sale.
Yep.
Right. So you got to have that confidence. They're looking for somebody confident. It's just like going to court. You want to go into court with a meek attorney? Maybe that might work in a divorce or something, right? Or in certain situations. But no, I want a pit bull.
Yeah, I want my attorney to be an absolute savage. I want them to go in there, own the room, and tell everybody what's going on.
Yeah. I like to call him a courtroom rat. That's what I want. Yeah. I want a courtroom rat.
Yeah. If anybody's ever watched the show Suits, I want Harvey Specter working for me. I want that guy that comes in, owns the room, tells everybody how it's going to happen, and is not afraid to be very confident in their position. So, but one of the questions you were talking about, some doing some follow up here a little bit ago. One of the questions that we got this week was really on how to follow up. We've got a bunch of leads in our database. How do I follow up with them? And what we find we're all guilty of this, especially when we're earlier in the business, is that we always go to the whole, hey, Mr. and Mrs. So and so, just following up to see what your plans were for this year. Nobody wants to be followed up with.
Mhm.
Let's just make that clear. Nobody wants to be followed up with. And you and I were laughing before we went live about like LinkedIn. I've got a bazillion messages in my LinkedIn messages from somebody who wants me to click on a link and schedule a time on their calendar so they can tell me about what they want to sell me. And then
Mhm.
I get after that, I get 4 or 5, just following up to see if you can get together. Can you spare a few minutes? Can you click on this link? Can you get this scheduled? First of all, it's all wrong because they're continually asking me to do something for them, which is crazy. But I don't want to be followed up with. And that gets back to what our third learning was, which is show people how you're solving problems right now. The script
Yeah.
shouldn't be, I'm just following up on your plans for this year. It should be, would you like to know how I'm solving these problems for my clients right now? Would be happy to share if you've got some time. It should be, come to them with some value, come to them with solution oriented conversation, and not just I'm following up on your plans for 2023, because I can guarantee you're getting little to no response to those messages because nobody wants to be followed up with. If you told people how you're solving problems, they're going to be curious and they're going to want to know more. If they're just being followed up with, they're not going to respond.
It's a difference between being authentic or inauthentic, right? And so that it's the same thing as being automated and being real time or in person, right?
Right.
So there's places for all of them for your automation, your smart plans, and those kind of things.
Yep.
But if those things are all top of the funnel, right? Once you get to the middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel, you got to start getting a little bit more personalized and getting in there.
Right.
But I find the best way to do that is not through, yes, making the phone calls. If you make enough phone calls, you'll get the answers. I'm not saying that. But if you can put out enough value, then you're going to attract people are going to want to work with you,
Right.
right? People are going to want to work with you because of your values, because of your vision, because of what you do. Do I want to work with the number one real estate agent in an area that is deeply embedded in the community, that gives thousands of dollars back to charity every time I log in to Facebook or Instagram or any place else? I see this person with all the end people and helping to move and support them. Yeah, man, can I get on your schedule?
Right.
Right. Yeah, some people are going to be intimidated by that. A lot of people will say, while we're on that, right? And this part, I was thinking about this driving home yesterday. A lot of people say you are the brand, right? And while I agree with that, I disagree with it.
Mhm.
And what I mean by that is, ain't nobody hiring John Masello because of John Masello, right? Because of me. I'm kind of unique and kind of like a honey badger that's looking for an ice cream. Okay, I'm a little different. I rub people maybe because I'm just intense. I'm just focused,
Mhm.
right? And let's solve the problem as quick as possible. You ever
Yep.
see Pulp Fiction?
I
The
love that
Wolf.
movie.
Yeah, I'm like the wolf, man.
Yep.
I just come in, I handle the business, and
Yep.
I ain't looking to make friends. But what happens is if you are the brand,
Mhm.
what is that brand known for?
Right.
Is that brand known for? I'm working on something, for the Matea group. I mentioned a little bit yesterday about the handshaking and the things that we're gonna use Jeff's home for the staging for. But it's all about integrity, right?
Right.
The word's gonna be integrity, trust, communication, right? What is your brand known for? I don't know if agents, if I polled 100 agents right now, the number would be high that they just pulled something out of their butt that's like, oh, I'm this, I'm that, I'm that. But are you? Where do I see that? Where do I see that in your
Right.
messaging? Where do I see that in your brand kit? Where do I see that? Do I see that in your social media? Do I see that in your posts, or is it all how can? It's not how can I help you? Okay, I say this all the time, and I'm not picking on agents. I'm picking on the world right now. It's not how can I help you? It's how can you help me?
Mhm.
Right? That most people are coming at it with a how can I help you approach, but what
Mhm.
they really mean is how can you help me?
Mhm.
Right? How can I help you help me? Right?
Yeah.
So, having that brand, the true brand message of what it is that you represent, I think is so important. So important. And that's going to reflect in your follow up. That's going to reflect in your letters that you're sending out. That's going
Yep.
to reflect in your social media. Too many people just going out there like Stuart, look what I can do. Well, so
Yep.
can't 10 million others.
Yeah. I
Right?
mean, you think about that, the brand in the case of the agent, the logo is your name and your face, but the
Mhm.
brand is what it stands for, which is what you're getting at. That's, why do people pay more for a Mercedes than a Toyota? It's because Toyota's brand, the logo's cool, but it's a car. You sit down, you turn the key, and you drive somewhere, and you stop. It does all the same things as every other car out there. But why do you pay more for a Mercedes? It's because of what it stands for. It's
Ego.
luxury and prestige and all those things that, well, it's ego and all that stuff. But yeah, but but at the end of the day, it's a car. It still does the same thing as every other car on the lot. But you're
Mhm.
paying more because of what that brand stands for. It's the same reason that there are agents that go into listing appointments and command higher commissions than others, because they come in, they sit down, and they've got the expertise, the skills, they're polished, they present well,
Mhm.
and they can command that higher commission versus the agent who goes in meekly and doesn't really want to ask for the business and kind of soft pedals the idea of working together, and then eventually settles for whatever the seller's willing to give them. It's totally different. And there are agents that are taking significantly higher commissions based on what they bring to the table.
Mhm.
Because again, it's not about necessarily your face and your name. It's about what it stands for, what it means, and what the consumer views it as.
Yeah. I 100% agree with that. I mean, you know, all all men are created equal, right?
Yep.
But that doesn't mean all men run their business equal.
Correct.
And replace man is just human, so don't everybody come at me.
Yeah.
Um, right? So, all humans are created equal, but we all don't operate equally,
Yep.
right? And we all don't have equal integrity. So, or equal whatever it might be, equal vision, equal drive.
Yep.
So I think having that understanding of what it is that you represent. If I asked most people, what is your mission? They,
You're not going to get an answer.
they I want to help 50 people with the goal of home ownership. Now, 50 is the number that you need to hit that goal. I
Right.
mean, your financial goal, right?
Right.
That's not a purpose.
Right.
That's a business goal. So I think defining what it is you represent, and in that is the discipline and the integrity that we talked about. I know a real estate agent in my area. I don't name people. Some people are like, oh, I don't like so and so. He's just very cold. Well, he's the most disciplined person that I know in my area. He comes in,
Yep.
he's in his office by 8 o'clock every day, goes through his emails, go through the things that he needs to go through. And then from 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock, it's phone time. He's on that phone banging out, no interruptions, no
Yep.
appointments, no exceptions every day, every day. And then from 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock, he takes an uninterrupted lunch. And then after that, he checks his emails and voicemails and handles what he needs to. Then it's time for appointments. He's home by 5:30 every single day,
Yep.
right? He makes $1 million a year. I mean, owns multiple properties, owns several other businesses. He's doing phenomenally well, but he's that disciplined.
Yep.
It doesn't matter what I think of him, because when he's meeting with the customers, they're sitting down. He's straight business and facts, and he will overcome any objection that you have because he's worked on himself, and he's polished.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Don't mistake focus for a disinterested personality.
yes,
Those of us that get into that zone, and that, I've been told many times in my life, I'm unapproachable, I'm cold, and it's because I'm focused on what I'm working on, and I don't have time for all the distractions and interruptions and the got a minute conversations. And when I'm in the zone, I'm in the zone, and I need to be left alone.
yeah,
And I think it's great that you went and saw a movie last night. I don't want to talk about it right now because I'm focused on something, and the small stuff needs to go by the wayside.
yeah,
But so back to the brand piece of it, Johnny Mo. So a lot of the branding piece is really, it gets into how you communicate it. And we've started to really amplify that message through video, and trying to do more with that networking platform to get that message out to more people.
yeah,
And you've been working on a little bit of a package here to try to help people both with, kind of the digital presence, but also getting the coaching and training behind that. You
yeah.
want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm always looking to stay one step ahead if I can
Yep.
of trending or the masses or anything else like that. Like, everybody is on this Chat GPT kick. Chat GPT is going to start charging you money. First of all,
Well, they are
Chat
now.
GPT, right? Chat
Good good
GPT
luck
is
getting on it without a paid subscription, by the way.
right. And that's exactly what they say, that you'll get
Holy
right
cow.
on if you're got the $20 a month program. I've been using Jasper for the past 2 years, right? So AI isn't anything new to me.
I've been able to log into Chat GPT maybe once. Every time I go on, it's too busy.
Yeah, it happens. You got to go there at weird times, I guess. I was on early, but the problem is it's only programmed till 2021. right? So you got 2 years worth of the information. But the thing is, people are going to use it wrong, and they're going to abdicate their responsibility to it versus delegate their responsibility to it. And I'll explain that in a minute. There's a big push on SEO. There's a big push on how do we use our systems properly? How do we grow? And, when I look at all the other coaching and training programs out there, the majority of them all just preaching the same old stuff. And that's why I pulled away from it a couple of years ago. It's like, man, everybody's just talking about the same old stuff. Goals, that's all important. But I'm gonna let the 90% of people talk about goals and calls and action plans and everything. There's plenty of that, right? There's plenty of that.
Yep.
I want to talk about SEO. I want to talk because it's always changing. The goalpost is always moving, right? And using AI tools in order to help aggregate the SEO and everything else like that. If you think for 1 minute that you're going to go into Chat GPT and say, write me a 2,000 word blog on blah, 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 that's ever going to rank, you're wrong.
Yeah.
You're wrong. You're 100% wrong because it doesn't have structure to it. And that's what these things are looking for, is the proper structure. So if you're not learning how to properly structure a blog, and let's just call it an article, and really I wrote an article the other day, and it took me 2 hours. I'm still not happy with it. I can still go in there and do some improvements. My SEO score was only a 66. I want to get it over a 70, 72. My competition was at an 82. So if the bar is set at 82 and you're coming in at 66, and I'm spending time on it using multiple tools and keyword searches and, these other tools, your Chat GPT is going to be like out of the box a 20, which gets you on page 20. Right?
Yeah.
So if you're using it just to write articles that you can send out into your newsletter, that's fine. Know that. Yep. But if you want to write articles that are going to potentially rank or get some SEO juice or get found on Google that are a little bit more impactful, then that's where we need more training around, right? So the training that we're putting together, I'm just waiting on a couple of commitments from some other people, high-level SEO people. Now, they're not going to teach you everything because, right, you can't do everything, but they're going to teach us the basics and the frameworks and those kind of things that you should be looking at, right? They're not going to teach you the AI stuff that they're doing, right? That they're building, that does all these other crazy things.
Even the simple stuff about making sure the keywords you're talking about are actually just in the article. Like that's sometimes we forget about what we're trying to actually accomplish with what we're writing, and don't even put some of the keywords inside of the article that we're trying to rank for those keywords.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, right? That's important. There needs to be multiple keywords, but then you have to have NLP, natural language processing, right? So does it actually sound readable? Does it actually sound like somebody wrote that? Because they will start to penalize AI content versus, organic content. That people want organic content, right? AI is great to help you, but it can't replace you.
No, and Google can sniff out AI content. It crawls it and knows right out of the gate if it is just ripped off straight from Chat GPT. Because what we're hearing from a lot of people is that they're writing listing remarks or blogs or articles or marketing pieces, and literally they're asking for Chat GPT or Jasper, whatever they use to create it for them. They're just copying, pasting, calling it good. And when you read them, you can clearly tell they weren't written by the person. In some cases, the language doesn't even feel human. It just feels kind of wonky. But without spending a few minutes to edit that, you've effectively just put something out there that Google is going to punish worse than if you just written it yourself.
Yeah. It's all algorithms.
Yeah.
Right. So let me just get a little bit deeper, right? We're in an information war out there. It's Google against the world. In 1996 or 7, I remember I was in American Science and Engineering. I was a wee young support person. And one of the senior engineers said to me, before you know it, we're going to be able to log in from anywhere in the world and all your documents will be there. Your email, it will follow you around. Well, Windows NT came out a year or two later. I'm like, oh, that guy was right. And Google
Windows
came out
NT.
several years later. And it was like, and now the whole Google suite. And I'm like, damn, he was really right. Right. So it's Google against the world. So OpenAI was funded $1 billion by Microsoft. Microsoft owns Bing. Okay. Yep. Microsoft has earmarked another $10 billion. Google has had their own AI for years, right? Mm-hmm. It made big waves about it. It's just an algorithm. And if Google doesn't want the competition to show up, the competition's not going to show up.
Right. Yeah. They've got some pretty good control there and the technology to back it up.
Yeah. Right. Because nobody in any rules anywhere says Google has to follow anybody's rules other than what Google wants. Right. There are no rules around it. They're trying to, but it is what they want. If they want to put their advertisers first, they surely can.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, if we've learned nothing from all this Twitter stuff and all the Facebook inquisitions over the last few years, is that these tech companies literally just play by their own rules, do their own thing. And unless somebody super smart can come in and start poking holes in it, they're going to do what they do because there's nobody out there that's going to stop them.
There's never been an elected senator or congressman or president in the history of history that can actually be qualified to work at any one of those companies in any capacity in the development area. So they don't even know what is happening, right? But what is happening? Whatever they want. You're 100% right. They not to get political, they can make people disappear. Even if it's one of the most powerful people in the world, they can make them disappear and non-existent. They can take your company down, Amazon Web Services. Yeah, they're so, what are the rules? Whatever they want. And if they want to make this AI content, AI is written by an algorithm. So an algorithm can figure out AI content. It makes sense to, I'm going to get into it just a little bit, right? So in a blog, right, in an article, you got to have content there, right? And the content's not just the words and the structure, which is important, and the keywords that are important. You're going to want some images in there. You're going to want some unique images in there, right? Because again, every image has the data behind it that most common people don't even know how to see, but they can tell you whether that picture's been used before. If that picture's been used before, they don't really, right? It doesn't get any weight. Facebook is great for this. Facebook has a pixel checker. They want to make sure that that picture is unique. They want unique content, right? So all these people want unique content. So the more unique you can be, the more authentic that you can be. Something that I'm doing is I've been out. I mean, it's no secret. I'm out there making videos nonstop. Here's the madness of the videos. Yeah, I use these videos already on my social medias and stuff like that. Now I can use them in my blogs. I can even change them around a little bit. I can embed them there. So all these. So when I start saying, hey, if you go to, I'll just use the one I did. If you go to Kittery, Maine, you got to try out these restaurants. Anjou, I don't remember the name of the other ones, right? Blah, 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 Lily's, right? All these places. Here, watch the video. Here, watch the video. Here, watch the video. Now I got this blog that when somebody gets there, it's big and beefy, and it's like a Golden Corral buffet. Everything's there, right? But if you don't have everything there, right, the score goes down. And it's even the same thing with YouTube. If you're putting videos on YouTube and you're just putting videos on YouTube, you're not going to get the ranking. You're not going to get the juice that you would if you use like a vidIQ or a TubeBuddy to go in there and optimize that, maybe get a score at like 60 or 70 or keywords that rank or titles that rank, right? If you just go in there and go blindly, you will get that kind of result.
Yeah, 100%.
So that's what the training's about. The training's about how do we best utilize these tools? How do we really rank? How to accurately use ChatGPT, integrate that with Surf SEO, or integrate that with Jasper AI, Keyword.io, SEMrush, all these other tools that people are paying for, who are proficient for, which are the enterprise level tools for search engine optimization. Because at the end of the day, I don't want to write a blog for the sake of writing a blog. I'd rather write one article a month of meat versus 10 articles a month with no substance.
Yeah, exactly. So you got an SEO component to that. You've also got some things around, operations, sales, utilizing your CRM with that content to actually drive traffic to it, to, eventually lead capture, trying to help people create this digital presence that isn't this fragmented mess. Because what we typically find, and we've been guilty of this for years, and thankfully in working with you, we're beginning to bring this all back together. But we had stuff on our business page, our Instagram, our website, but never the same stuff, never consistent, not all the pieces. We created a ton of content. We create a ton of content from both, kind of the real estate agent perspective for the community, but also on the coaching and training side, we've got tons of content, and it's just kind of like thrown everywhere. And now we're actually, working to bring this all back together in a way where people can find it, people can engage with it. And if people like it, they can actually engage directly with us. Whereas in
Yeah.
the past, it was just kind of like, I was talking to somebody earlier this week, and I was talking about, we always kind of had that post and pray strategy. We'd put stuff out there and hope people saw it. And now we're transitioning to more of a post and drive strategy, which is let's post stuff out there and drive people to somewhere where they can engage with it, versus just letting it happen wherever it happens.
Yeah. And let's talk about intentionality real quick. I know we're getting to the end of the time.
Yep.
Let's talk about intentionality real quick. And I will use what we're doing, right? Because what we're doing is what you were doing, is what I was doing, and now it
Yep.
comes together, and we're able to put what you're talking about together with I Love Portland, Maine. So it's all about supporting the community. It's all about building that small business
Yep.
alliance and network and supporting one another and the advocacy. The guy at Salvage Barbecue yesterday said to me, because I told him about what we're doing with the small businesses and stuff. He goes, "Doesn't that already exist?" I said, "You would think that an organization exists, but usually what it is a bunch of suit coats collecting their monthly fee. This is
Right.
completely different, where you are the content."
Yep.
Right? You are the content. The small business owners are the content. So all the content on the page is all the businesses. You
Yep.
understand? I said, and we support one another and we help each other out. I said, and that's the way that goes. I said, but real estate agents, for us, real estate agents are so, and I'm picking on them specifically because that's what we work with, right?
Yep.
Mortgage people too. They're so in this place of two things. They feel as though they need to educate the public.
Mhm.
And there's part of that. And that's the
Sure.
right hook of Gary Vaynerchuk. There's a little influencer out there by the name of Gary Vaynerchuk. If you've never heard of him, you should look him up,
Yeah.
right? But Gary Vaynerchuk put out a book 2018, maybe, Jab, 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 Right Hook. And if you just always go out there, real estate, real estate, real estate, that is along the post and pray
Yep.
methodology. The same as I call most real estate agents, they put the sign in the ground and they kneel in front of it, right? They're
Yeah.
praying that listing
Yep.
sells overnight.
Yep.
Anyways, the post and pray, right? So that's what that is. So if you're just only always talking about real estate, then you're going to drown your audience out, right? Now, don't get me wrong. If they see you the whole goal is to be omnipresent and say, hey, look at this
Yeah.
guy. But what we're doing is we're doing videos on the business, the videos on the area, video promoting local events. I'm trying to get us a press pass for this thing that's coming up in next week, right? Where we can go in. There's going to be vendors. It's a big carnival, right?
Yep.
So we'll see about that. But I'm going to go in there and video all the vendors, all the food vendors, all the food trucks. I'm going to be able to make crazy content from that, but also cover the event. Now all of a sudden, I'm putting ourselves in the middle of that entire Portland market to say, hey, take a look at the videos that we did on Carnival. Hey, take a look at the videos we did on this. Hey, take a look. When somebody lands there, not only is there a great video, there's a great article, but they've also been pixelated. So when they come to the website, it ain't all about real estate and how great I am. It's all about the community first. And what happens is through the retargeting and everything else like that, that's where we become omnipresent, right? But the entry to it isn't real estate. Right? Because if somebody doesn't need your services, they don't get that entry. And I 100% believe in the 1-9-90 rule, where 1% of people create content. Now, you have to think about this on a local level, not a national level. I don't ever expect a real estate agent to try to be a Gary Vaynerchuk. I don't ever expect a real estate agent or coach to try to be Tom Ferry.
Right.
Tom has an international audience he needs to appease to. You don't. Right? As a real estate agent, you got this regional one. So if you can do regional things and reach that regional people and become regionally omnipresent, you're going to win. Right? So 1% of people create content. Be that 1%. 9% of people engage with content. Those are your here and nows. But the then and whens are the 90% who are the lurkers. Right? Those are the people that don't post, don't anything. All of a sudden, they're watching you. And a year later, they click on Get My CMA. A year later, they say, hey, I've been following you. We're thinking about buying. Can you help? Absolutely. Because you've put yourself out there. Everybody's chasing that 9%. I say you can have that. Y'all fight over that 9%. I'm going after the 90%.
Yep.
Well.
Yep. Absolutely. They're going to be there when they're ready, and they're going to think of you. And I think the one lesson we've learned too over the years is that I think as agents, our natural inclination is to tell people about all the stuff we've done. Hey, look at this award. Hey, sold. Nobody cares that you got paid and got a check from that transaction. Everybody cares about what did you do to solve that person's problem? What did you do to get that person the result they wanted? We get that you sold the house. Great. Awesome. You got a commission check. Great for you. But how did you get them there? Like, what was their journey? And for us, it's been a lot of, what are we doing in the community? Because what do people not care about? Your post to brag about what you do. What do people care? But what do people care about? The community. They care about the best place to get pizza, barbecue. In the case of Johnny Mo's barbecue road trip he's going on right now, the dog park, schools, like people care about the community they're going to live in. So be that, the old digital mayor strategy Gary Vaynerchuk had years and years
Absolutely.
ago, be that go-to person that shows people and showcases the community. It's also a great digital networking platform, because now all those businesses you're featuring that you're now talking to owners and getting into relationship with, and you're providing value to them. Well, reciprocity kicks in. They want to provide value back to you. So now they're coming to you with referrals. You're also getting into their sphere of people, into their network. I'm working with 2 commercial clients right now that are businesses that we featured in a video. And part of that was because we featured them in a video and got to know them. We built relationships with them, and now I'm working with them on tenant rep agreements. And it doesn't have to be uncomfortable or difficult or, crazy production. It's just getting in front of people, having those conversations, featuring them, and using video as a great platform to network across a much larger spectrum. But then to your point about intentionality, it's then knowing what to do with it once you've taken care of it. And that's the biggest question we get is, I've got these videos, now what?
Yeah. 100%. Every real estate agent, every person out there knows 5 real estate agents, right?
Oh,
One
yeah.
of the big things that we always see is, oh, I don't like this so-and-so. What do you do when your friend lists or buys with? Listen,
Yeah.
man, that's the way it goes. Sheila,
Yep.
calm down. But here's the thing. It goes back to the old adage. I'm going to add something to it. This is a Johnny Mo exclusive right here, right now.
Here we go.
People do business with people they know, like, and trust and feel appreciated by.
Mhm.
Right. So if you got 5 real estate agents and this one makes them feel, and they all know, like, and trust all 5 of them, but this one makes them feel appreciated.
Yep.
Guess who's getting the business? This
Yep.
one, because that's Maslow's hierarchy, second layer, second or third level. Everybody wants involvement. They want to
Mhm.
feel appreciation, right? When you can tickle and selling is psychology. Sales is psychology. So when you understand
Totally.
psychology, you're able to hit, it's an unfair advantage, but you're able to hit those levels.
Yep,
Right.
absolutely.
By playing into their ego. Or I don't mean ego in a negative way. Ego is both good and it is what it is. It's a personality. But when you're able to pacify their personality, they feel good. They feel appreciated. That's where the trust really comes in. Right.
Yep. Absolutely. So, all right. So we're at about time here, Johnny Mo. So what's your closing thought for this Friday?
So my closing thought is, and I said this last night to my friend, the quantum of time, if we look at the quantum of time, right, compare it to how fast the technological world is moving, we're moving at an alarming rate, faster than ever in history. We know this, but the agent is evolving as fast as the tools, or are they jumping into these tools because they got a 2 o'clock, an 11 o'clock, a 3 o'clock, got to do lead gen and everything else, and are using these tools inaccurately? That's probably the right word. So what we're doing is, I've always tried to stay one step ahead. We want to get you on the right path. We want to show you how to use these tools properly by bringing in the experts, by seeing what we're doing, okay, through video, digital, and social. We're adding Chime managed websites to our repertoire. Why? To help people, lead generate on one of the best, if not the best, IDX platform out there. Show them how to use this, show them how to use SEO, and help them rank, bring in those leads, right? Because it's not brain science, but when there's 1.65 million real estate agents all doing the same thing, red ocean, you want to do things a little bit differently, a little bit better, blue ocean, because you need to stand out.
Yep. Yeah. It's all about evolution of the industry, evolution of your business, and then evolution of you as the entrepreneur that's actually guiding that business. And I'll close it out with, for those of you that have been following us in the 90 and 90, we're cranking, we're pushing hard to generate business, but really as the spring market begins to show up, and I know for some of you that's weather driven, for some of you it's really just calendar driven. This is the time when people are thinking about school ending, what their plans might be. We're doing a lot of follow up to old leads to the database. But remember, don't be the person that's following up. Be the person that's getting into conversation and showing people how that you can solve their problems, because that's really what they want to hear right now. Because right now they're worried about, I want to do something, but I don't know what, I don't know how. Now show them how, show them the what, and show them how you can be that expert that guides them through that process.
Yeah.
This is
Make sure you send a cold unsolicited text too. That's always a winner.
People love those. Yeah. I mean, texting, it's a great response, but don't start with texting. Make the call, leave the message, use the text as the kind of the tickler to get them to hopefully call you back. But let's not just live in a world where we're just firing off texts and emails and hoping that people get back to us.
Yeah. Always remember this, Harrison. Nobody cares about when I'm talking about people that aren't family and friends.
Yep.
Nobody cares about you. They care about how you make them feel and what you can do for them.
Exactly.
End of it.
Exactly. Right. Well, all right. Well, appreciate the time this morning, Johnny Moe.
You got it. And make sure, guys, if you're interested in like learning about the coaching program that we're putting together that has SEO and systems and leadership and all that other stuff in there from real people that are really doing this business on a high level, head over to Community Leaders Group. There's a pinned post there, and put your name there. And when we get the final commitments from a couple of people and the final agreements hashed out, we're going to start launching this thing. I would say probably April, May. But it will transform your business because it is going to be by experts. And if we can help you in your video, your digital needs, go to the evolutionmediagroup.com and take a look at what we're doing. That's where the new house of Explore My Town is. We're evolving as well and always pushing the envelope. And we want to help you push the envelope too and help you become local famous.
Absolutely. And if you've got questions, feel free to always leave them in the chat, throw them in the Real Estate Community Leaders Facebook page. We're always happy to answer questions. And, those questions we get frequently, we'll try to answer right on this format each week. And just looking to bring some value and help all of you out as we try to get through this shifting market together. So with that, everybody have a great close out to the week, great weekend. And we'll see you again on Monday for the 90 and 90.